Welcome to House Call. I am your host, Shell Robinson, and today we have with us a wonderful, talented young lady from the UK, Mia Wilks. Mia, welcome to the podcast. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Why don't we, kind of start out and talk about how you got your start with music for you? Where did it all begin?
Well, I started music around 3.5 years ago, and I just fell in love with the process of, bringing a song together. So I started to put some of my songs on SoundCloud, and a lot of opportunities have come from that, like collaborations. And I also got my first record deal through SoundCloud, which is so cool.
That is awesome. It's a great platform and really allows everyone to be heard. And so glad it's been a great resource for you. And congratulations on your first record through there as well.
Thank you so much.
What was kind of your aha moment in house music for you?
Well, I listen to so many different genres of music, like from classical to like R&B, and I listen on SoundCloud and Apple Music. And I just became really interested in how you can combine so many different genres within house music, and I could still use my R&B vocals. And I think when I saw Black Coffee on Instagram performing in Ibiza, I knew it was definitely something I'd want to experiment with.
He's so talented. He's
Yeah.
really, an icon. So what made you decide, hey, I'm falling in love with house music and I want to create it?
Well, I just, love how creative you can get with house music. And I particularly love the strong beats that are used. But I also love, how the music builds up and then it, really gets into it. Yeah, and how that affects an audience, really.
It is. It was always my first experience, super emotional for me. And I
Yeah.
always like it if you get the goosebumps. That's always a good sign.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
What is your best memory so far of the house music scene?
Well, I remember watching Black Coffee before on Instagram. And it was amazing. I think it was Julie McKnight singing Finally, and that just inspired me so much. And then on, I just knew it was something I definitely want to try out for sure.
It's a classic and timeless. And
Yeah.
then, who are your main influences in this genre for you?
Well, my main influence, I would say, is Kate Renada. He is so cool. His songs are awesome. But I've also been working with Claudio Moltz, who you interviewed a couple of weeks ago. And he definitely continues to inspire me. And we've collaborated a few times. And whenever we collaborate, he usually does the bass line, and I'll do the top line and the lyrics. So that's really cool.
He has a really unique sound too, which is one of the things I like as producers start to kind of carve out their sound and their niche. And he really stands out to me as someone with a really unique progressive sound.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Congrats on your collaboration with him too. He's a wonderful person.
Yeah.
What would you say inspired you to start producing music for you? Like, what was that moment?
Well, I just, love experimenting with lots of different types of genres, and I listen to such a lot of music. So I think when I came across house music on SoundCloud, I knew it was definitely something I wanted to do for sure.
I love that. Can you walk us through kind of your creative process for a recent song or track that you've been working on?
Well, I love to start out with a strong bass line. I think that's really important. And usually I like to write lyrics to have a meaning. I think that's really important. But then I'll always add, a top line to that as well. But to the actual music, I'll add lots of, the R&B side of me. Like I'll use piano and bass guitars and even some violins. And I'll obviously stay true to my R&B vocals. Um, so yeah, I just try to make sure it's very strong and memorable, so an audience can really listen in, really.
I love that.
Mhm.
How do you think the music scene right now is evolving and is going to continue to evolve?
Well, I think it's definitely more accessible to everyone. I think everyone loves a really strong beat, and I think you can write a great dance track if you have the right bass line. And I think, DJs like Fred again are continuing to be such big artists.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It is. more and more accessible. And I think radio stations, like even like everyday radio stations, are playing house music more and more. So I think it's reaching larger audiences. And Black Coffee actually is a really good example too of
Yeah.
appealing to a larger audience as well.
Mhm.
What do you think of like phones on the dance floor as the scene evolves too? Phones or no phones?
I'm not sure. I'll be so honest with you. Like social media and stuff, I like it, but
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
It's an interesting one. We're starting to hear there's a theme right now I've been watching, is like phone-free parties, and there's part of you that wants to capture the moment, but then there's also part of you that wants to be present. So I can kind of see both sides.
Like personally for me, I like to, live in the moment. I don't like to take photos of everything really.
I don't either, but I also am like, am I outdated now? That could be.
Yeah.
What's one thing that really motivates you and sparks your creativity?
I just think life in general really, really motivates me. I'll listen to something on the radio on my headphones, and that can just, really spark my creativity and motivate me to create something really cool.
I love that. What is one memory that you have from musical history that you will never forget?
Oh, I think when I did my first concert in Trafalgar Square 2 years ago, that was such an amazing experience. And I think I just gained, performance experience. But I think when my songs were played on the radio for the first time, that was such a great moment as well.
Those are two tremendous moments for you, and you've got a really bright career ahead of you, especially as you're becoming multifaceted, both singing, writing. You're also write lyrics as well, right?
Yeah, I do.
That's so awesome. Good for you. Who has had the biggest impact on your musical career and why?
Well, I've been lucky to work with some big names in the music industry, and all of them have given me such great advice. I think they've taught me that being myself is good enough, and I think that lesson alone has given me the confidence to actually, create music and steer my music career in my own way. So
That's
yeah.
really powerful. I wish I had had that when I was younger myself. So I'm glad you've got strong, positive forces around you, encouraging you to put yourself out there and believe in yourself. That's amazing.
Thank you.
Well, what kind of topics are really important to you?
Well, within music, I want to, tell people to be true to themselves. I think it's better to have 1,000 loyal fans than like 10,000 one-off plays. And I think once people learn that, I think, numbers and social media becomes, irrelevant. And I'm personally just happy to have fans that, love what I do.
That's really actually important and powerful.
Mhm.
What would you want your true fans and people to remember about you?
Well, I think I work hard, I'm resilient, and I go after my dreams. And I'm not really reliant on being discovered as an artist, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm just pursuing my career, really. And I already have a music career at the end of the day. But I haven't waited for it to happen to me.
That's actually really great advice for, I think, anyone who's working on their professional skills, whether it's an art form or a hard skill, is that
Yeah.
consistency and that discipline. It pays off. My music production coach, he's like, just be consistent, do something every day, and you'll get better every day, right? That's so true. Who do you look up to in the music industry?
Oh, so many people. I look up to on a daily basis. But if I had to choose people, I'd say like Rachel Chinariri and Victoria Monet and Kate Trinada. Um, but I also have a producer in the States who I've worked with for 2 years, and he definitely continues to inspire me as well.
That's so awesome.
Mhm.
Good stuff. If you had to pick one record of all time as your favorite, and I know this is a really hard question for people in music, I couldn't pick one, but what would it be?
Oh, that's such a good question because as I said, I listen to such a lot of music, so it's so hard for me to pick one. But if I had to pick one, it would be I think Eyes Without a Face by Billy Idol. I think
Oh,
just, the electric guitar at the beginning, the instrumental. I've listened to that song so many times and it never gets old. It's
it
so
doesn't ever. Yeah.
no. Oh,
Goosebumps,
yeah.
timeless. And what is a pivotal moment in your career that has shaped you today?
Well, I think when I was on national radio, that was such a big moment for me. But I think also when I got my first record deal, that made me really believe that I could actually have a career out of music.
That is awesome.
Mhm.
What DAW are you using for your production?
Wait, sorry, what did you say?
Which DAW are you using for your musical productions? Are you using Ableton or Logic or?
Oh, I use GarageBand
Oh
most.
yeah,
I've tried to use other software, but
yep.
GarageBand I've always just gone back to.
Yeah. I know a lot of people who use GarageBand. I love
Yeah.
Apple. Apple does a great job too, and I use Ableton and would like to switch into Logic at some point too. So
Yeah.
it's all the tools are good now these days.
Hmm.
Which artists or songs have had the biggest influence on your own sound? And it's kind of similar to another question, but are there any other artists that have really impacted how you're designing your sound?
I think people like Lizzie McAlpine and Haley Knox have had such a huge impact on my sound. I listen to them, all the time.
Yeah,
So yeah.
I think you've got originality going in your sound too. So it's really hard to do. And congratulations for getting it dialed in.
Thank you.
What do you see as the future of house music?
Well, I just love the fact that you can combine so many other genres to create house music, but it's always going to have a place, as it's
Yeah.
not just about the music; it's about the feeling it creates.
Mhm.
Um, and I think it keeps people listening, and I feel like house music is, it creates an atmosphere. It's like euphoria, really.
It is. It really is. Helps lift your mood.
Mhm.
Where can people follow you and find you? What platforms?
Well, you can follow me on SoundCloud, TikTok, and Instagram, and you can listen to me on all streaming platforms as well.
Oh, that's amazing. I am so glad you decided to come and join the podcast today. I hope everyone will go out and check out your music, your singing. You're such a talented young lady, and I really look forward
Yeah.
to watching your career and music journey throughout the years ahead for you. You've got an exciting path ahead for you.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me as well.
Absolutely. I will put links to all of Mia's social platforms in the YouTube post as well once we get the podcast live today. Thank you, Mia, and we'll talk soon.